kind of dovetailing into that. You're laying the groundwork of your site. So now you've chosen your domain name, right? Or your domain names. You've chosen your hosting platform. You have a good handle on, you've created a schema of what your website's going to look like. From the top level, you've kind of defined, what the navigation structure is going to look like. How people want to, get the most out of your site. Now you think about, well, what are the goals of my site? And it really falls into two general categories. One is brand promotion, and the other is direct response, and not necessarily in that order. It could be a mix of the two. But brand promotion is more about, well, if you're a new company, if your marketing strategy is more about penetrating right now, and you haven't been around a long time, your goals may be to just, you want to get your brand out there. You want people to know who you are. You want to make a splash and become known. That's an entirely different ideology and approach than you would take if you were more, you're more mature in the market. I know a lot of folks here are installers, system integrators. I can use one prime example. Wheelock is a company in Long Branch. They've been around since 1929. I think they've had a website since 1990. They would probably be more interested, Wheelock would, in direct response. And what is direct response? It's when you're trying to lure people to your site to capture information. Not necessarily e-commerce where you're conducting online transactions, but capturing information. It could be often case studies, white papers, literature, any type of thought leadership materials, whatever, and imploring, asking them to submit information in order to retrieve any of those materials. That's more along the lines of direct response. So most websites are a combination of the two. One of our customers in California, some of you may have heard of, adhoc.com. They provide emergency mass notification systems across cell phones, pagers, Blackberries, etc. Their site is a perfect blend of direct response and brand promotion. So that's going to help to drive the actual architecture of your site. And we're going to get into that a little bit more in the coming slides, but just at a top level view for now, what the contents of your homepage is going to look like. Because if your site is slanted towards direct response and you want people to take a specific action, your homepage is going to introduce who you are, what you do, and then it's going to have a clear call to action. Right? They're going to be trying to direct you. If it's been done correctly, they're going to try to direct you as seamlessly as possible to perform the action that they want you to perform. And the site is going to be slanted towards that end. If not, if it's more about brand promotion, they might be pointing you into solutions, right? So what do you offer the industry? Whatever your industries are, healthcare, local government, etc. It might be more about, these are the solutions that we offer to the marketplace. We want to introduce to you guys what these solutions are, etc. So all of these things act integrally to kind of fuel your internet marketing strategy. And we're going to get into that in a lot more detail as we go forward and in the next class. I think that's about it for this slide. Any questions? Great, thanks. So it's all about customers, prospects, and performance. At the end of the day, it's a product. Your website's a product, and it's built for your customers. Go back to that. So you want it to be all about your customers, your prospects, and your partners. And by partners, we mean your supply chain. Your website needs to be able to fulfill many needs, obviously. You want to be able to appeal to customers, prospects. You want to be able to offer information, set yourself in that position of thought leadership. And at the same time, you want to appeal to your partners. Some of our customers, I've noticed over the years, a significant percentage of their traffic comes from partner websites. And we'll get into how you can monitor and track that a little bit later. It might be good to send them a fruit basket. When we get into the actual, now that you've established what your schematic or your site, what you want it to look like, you've gotten to the point where you balance against brand promotion, direct response. You know that you're going to buy X number of domain names. Now you want to think about putting the rubber to the road, if you will, and getting into the development aspect. And we're We're going to go a little bit further into the weeds when we get into some of the HTML, but for now it's going to be high level. These 5 categories really is a basic summation of what would comprise a good website. So what we're looking at here is the above the fold, right? The not under the hood stuff. So in terms of usability, first category, and it's the first category for a reason. Your site has to be very usable. I can't tell you how many websites I've been to where I get confused. They outthink themselves. It's so sophisticated that I can't understand it, and I'm a developer. I mean, it's like, wow. And I just browse away, and I'll go to one of their competitors, because I start to think, I think they're trying to confuse me intentionally, and what happens if I begin doing business with them? It can never have any good impression. But usability, I would define usability very succinctly. It's the ability to get anywhere in your site from your home page. Now, I used to say it's the ability to get anywhere in your site from anywhere in your site. But some websites have gotten so big that that's just it's not practical to have that expectation. We like to set that as a goal, but it doesn't always happen. Oracle's a great example, the Oracle website. I should have put a snapshot of it here. Of when you're on their homepage, you can get, and I mean, that's a company that has 29 different lines, and, you know, so many different distribution channels, and I mean, it's so big, but I can get anywhere from their homepage. And I know exactly what it is that they sell from their homepage. I know what they do. I know what their value proposition is by going 1, 2 levels deep into the site. And that's a really strong website. Also, in terms of usability, Steve Jobs, as we all know, I know we're not all developers, but it's all developers know, hated Flash, would not support it to his dying day. And that may change now, that he's no longer with us. Rest his soul, he's an amazing innovator. But he did not like Flash. I'm not too fond of Flash myself. We have used it because sometimes it is the best solution. If you're using Flash, that's fine, but you want to make sure that you have an alternative to Flash. JavaScript provides that alternative. JavaScript used to get a bad rap in the internet marketing space or internet development space up until about Internet Explorer 5 because it wasn't very secure. People were leveraging JavaScript to write viruses to your computer and cause all kinds of bad things to happen. I experienced it. But JavaScript now, since Internet Explorer 8 and browsers like Google Chrome, Mozilla, Safari, they handle JavaScript well, and they handle it by default. So that's the safer bet. That's the safer alternative to Flash. But if you really want to use Flash and you have high-end animation and you want to have it integrated into your website, because it's going to be a little bit more high-end than JavaScript can be, you want to have an alternative. So that's what usability is all about. You want to be compatible with the highest number of browsers. You never want anyone to come to your website and not be able to see the content that you're trying to serve. Right, exactly. Or an iPod.
And
yes, sir.
It's not that people that start from the on. I'm like trying to listen to you.
Yeah, what do they got?
What class is that?
They locked you out.
I'm going to tell them out front.
What do you want?
Tell them to be quiet.
Yeah.
Get you out.
Got that, man? You
need the mic.
Thank you. I know. Can everybody hear me for the most part?
The mic would help.
Yeah, the mic would help?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a brief 2-minute intermission. Let me get hooked up. Thanks. Guys, I'm just going to try to speak a little bit louder while we're waiting for the AV guy. It looks like he's got locks and stuff on this. Yeah, so I don't want to go mess around with his stuff. When he comes, I'll be wired up. All right? So I know we lost a couple of folks, but we're just going to continue for now because we do have a tight timeline. And when they come in, we'll get wired up and we'll move on. So any questions up to this point? All right. So whatever it is that you're doing with as far as your branding, fonts, colors, styles, you want to make sure that that's consistent across your site. So there's so many different terms and terminologies that go into the actual font headings and the way that those styles are defined. We're going to go into that in further detail when we get into the cascading style sheet section. CSS is the acronym for that. You guys may have heard of it before. Innovative is it's bi-directional. Innovative is basically, you want your site to look like it's using the highest level of sophistication, leading edge technology, while at the same time being very usable. At the same time, innovation goes along the lines of from the internal, from the inside looking out. I want to have the ability to easily manage my content. And there are, as we mentioned, there's innovative solutions for that. A role-based system is really the best because you really don't want to find yourself in a position 3 months out, you love your website, but now you find out that the developer or the development company has pigeonholed you into a position where now you have to call them every time that you want to make a little change. And I've seen that happen time and again. Has anyone experienced that? Yeah, you don't want to go through that. So you want to understand up front, and I put that under innovation, that could really go anywhere. But you want to have you want to be able to, or anyone in your organization whom you designate, you want them to be able to easily go in and update their own content without having to call the developer and pay $50 or whatever an hour every time they want to do it. And unfortunately, there are those who do that. That's part of their business model. So that's something to be cognizant of up front and early. As far as performance isn't as much of an issue as it used to be. Performance was more of a concern when people wanted to stream videos through their websites or host their own video content. And since Google acquired YouTube a couple of years ago, and now they've taken that and like the rest of their business model, which is brilliant, they give it all away for free. They bank the consumers, and they know the money will follow, obviously. Google gives it away for free. Performance isn't as much of a concern anymore as it used to be. So performance is something you want to be mindful of, but primarily in terms of disk space. You want to make sure that whatever solution it is that you use, be it your own hosted platform. Good. 1 second, folks. Oops. Ah. Get out. Testing. It's much better. There we go. All right.
Real quick question.
Sure.
This is more, I guess, legal.
Excellent.
From a legal standpoint, is it okay for, if we're developing a website, we're using certain products in this business, you use other people's logos, like manufacturers' logos, is there any problem with that, do you know?
There is.
If
Yeah.
we're using your product, we can't use your logos?
I would make sure that it's in the terms and conditions of your partnership or your dealings with them.
We don't, the only dealings we have is we purchase and use their equipment. I'm sure they'd be. fine with us.
Typically, they're not going to come after you,
Yeah.
but the